what are the best ways to help my child cope with sadness or stress during the holidays? Let's talk about some of those practical strategies. The first one, and probably the most important one, is just encouraging open communication. You've got to create safe spaces for kids to express their feelings. And that will look different at every developmental level, and it will look different for every single child. But it should be that children are able to express how they are feeling. In an earlier video, I explained to you that I and my family had a signal that we would give to each other to say, hey, I'm feeling stressed. If we can wrap it up soon, that would be great. And my family understood that was the signal, and they acknowledged it and they validated it. It could be that you have communication with your child before you go do something and say, hey, it seemed like last time we saw this person, it was kind of tough for you. I just wanted you to know they're going to be here. What do you think about that? And let them talk to you about however it is that they are feeling. Just recently, I had a mother who came to me, and she had this similar situation where a child was going to see a relative who the child said they did not like because they lost to a game to this cousin. And they said that they looked back at their child and they said, oh no, you love them. And I said, yeah, we know that they love them. But if what you say back to them as soon as they say to you, I don't like that person, is for you to say, oh no, you love them, that did not validate what that child was saying. What you can say back to them is, I know sometimes it's tough to be around them, or I know sometimes they do some things that are really frustrating to you. Do you see how that validates the child's feeling without saying, oh yeah, they're a terrible person, I hate them? Just at lunch, my family and I talked about some relatives we saw recently that were kind of some difficult relatives for us to be around, and how they were talking about some other very distant relatives that we do not get along with at all. And it's not that we hate those people, but we do not want to spend any time at all around those people. And I was able to communicate that with my parents, and my parents were able to communicate that with me, and we validated each other's feelings. And at every developmental level, it's different. Sometimes kids will just say, I don't want to go to grandma's house. And it's not that you say, oh, okay, well, we just won't go to grandma's house, because maybe grandma's house is really important. But you can look at them and you can say, I've never known that you don't like to go to grandma's house. Tell me some more about that. And let them share some of the things that are difficult. And as you learn more, maybe you can figure out, oh, they don't like sitting at the kid table because it makes them feel like a baby. And maybe there's a way for them to sit at the adult table, or maybe you sit at the kid table, or whatever it might be. There may be deeper reasons. And without that open communication, you don't know those deeper reasons for kids feeling the way that they feel. I do want to give a brief, just public service announcement, though, that open communication does have limits. Open communication does not mean dump onto your child and tell your child everything that is going on. I recently had a friend who was going through a divorce, and they were talking with me about the divorce and their child and making sure that their child understood. And they were asking me how much to share with their young child. And really it comes down to saying, me and mommy, we love you so much. We just can't be together right now. And letting them know that, and sharing that the child is still going to be involved in both of their lives. It does not mean to go and say, oh, well, here's the things that daddy did, and here's the things that mommy did, and here's all the things that frustrate me. And no, and you need to not like this about mommy, and you need to not like this about daddy. That is not open communication. That is not developmentally appropriate open communication. The same goes for financial difficulties. If a child feels all of the stress of, no, we can't do presents at all because we're about to lose the house, that is not developmentally appropriate for a child to hear. It may be the truth, but it's not developmentally appropriate for the child to hear. You can leave it at, hey, this year we're going to just spend some special time together instead of buying a lot of gifts for each other. Do you see? I sent the same message in a very open way without dumping onto a child. Do not dump onto your child and think that you have given open communication. If you have dumped onto a child, you have stressed them out beyond what is developmentally appropriate for them to experience. Then there's also just this idea of maintaining some level of routine and offering some calming activities. In an earlier video, I talked about how disrupted routine is one of the main things that leads to stress, anxiety, and even feelings of sadness over the holidays. Disrupted routine happens all over the place during the holidays. Kids are out of school. They are going places they don't normally go. They are doing things they don't normally do. The days may be filled with more things than normal. Routine is way off. If you can keep some pieces of the routine consistent, it will really help kids maintain themselves and deal with the difficulties that do come up because they'll know some of the things that will remain consistent. Along with that, offering some calming activities is important. Sometimes during the holidays, parents will feel bad or guilty if their child comes to them and says, "I'm feeling bored." During the holidays, you do not want your child to feel bored all of the time, but if your child comes to you every once in a while and says, "I'm feeling bored," what that means is my brain is not being constantly stimulated. There's not enough stuff flying at me all of the time. And you can look at them and you can smile and you can say, feeling bored is important sometimes because it lets them calm down and not have that overstimulation. You can have some time for calming to reduce that overstimulation, and you can really plan some quiet downtime moments. I remember when I was a child, and even today, I wake up early on Christmas. I just get excited for it. And now I have a niece and a nephew, and they love to celebrate Christmas, so it's a lot of fun for me as well. And I wake up early. There's just a lot that I'm excited for. And what my family would do is we could wake up and open our presents, and then my parents would say, "But after we open presents, we are going back to bed. You all can stay up and play if you want, but we're going back to sleep after we open the presents. It's 4:00 in the morning." So they would plan some quiet downtime moments for themselves. And myself and my brothers would play for a little while, and then we would crash. We'd fall asleep either on the couch or in a chair or in our beds, and we would have some of that quiet downtime moments. But even more than that, you can say, "Hey, after we get back from grandma's house, we're going to take some time where maybe it is something where you're not doing nothing, but you're doing something simple and quiet and calm." Even something as simple as coloring can be a great, quiet, downtime moment where you say, "Hey, we're turning off the screens. We're not blasting music. There's not going to be flashing lights. Throw on your sweatpants. Get into something comfortable. We are going to have some chill time." And that time helps reduce that overstimulation and can really help kids deal with the other times that are very intense and stimulating. And when I talk about this, I also like to think about difficult past holidays. If you know that your child has experienced a difficult holiday in the past, it's okay and important to talk with them about those things that were difficult in the past, and then talk about some ways that you can create new positive memories that don't make the child forget those things that happened in the past, but that help them see what happened in the past is not the way it always has to be. If you can find a few positive things and make it a point to say, "Hey, I remember last year you were feeling really sick and you didn't get to have your favorite cookie. I made your favorite cookie and I wanted us to be able to share that together. Having even those little positive moments can replace some of those negative associations that children have with the season. Those are some actionable, practical ways to support your child through the holiday blues. And as always, if you see some big signs and big symptoms or consistent over long periods of time that your child is struggling, reach out for some professional help. Get your child connected to a therapist, and that way they can get the support they need so they can thrive. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share one way you've supported your child during the holidays in the comments.